Monday, January 16th. What?
Don't you have to light the house?
Oh, yeah. Nice going. Take 3. All right, Monday, January 16th. Pretty cold out this morning, just to 13 degrees. Truck was all iced over. I'm taking a little road trip down to Erie, Pennsylvania to pick up a Swapp hog, a roll-off system. This is a new system that came out in competition with Switch and Go, which is what we already have. So we're going to try something a little different. It seems like it's almost identical to the Generation 1 Switch and Goes. Similar in price. The new Switch and Goes, they got rid of the rollers in the side of the subframe and they put these rubber slides in, and apparently you have to like jerk the body to get it off the truck now with gravity. So that's not really great. So we're going to try something a little different and see how it turns out. It looks like it's the same hoist. It takes the same cans. So in that aspect, it's all the same. He's also got a Switch and Go Generation 2 there on the ground that we can look at and just kind of compare them. So we're heading out. We should be there in about 2 hours, and we'll get back in touch then. We'll see you in Erie. Yep, look at that. Iced coffee, 19 degrees outside. Makes sense. That's where it said. Municipal garage. I don't think I'm in the right place.
Erie Fleet.
Hey Chris, it's Spencer Lilly calling.
Hey, how are you?
I think I'm close, but I definitely just went to the wrong place.
Okay, are you over at the city building?
I was, yes.
Okay, so yes, you are close. This happens every time. So this is a one-way, and the city kind of closed off part of the road, so the GPS hasn't caught up over the last 20 years. So, where exactly? What do you see?
I'm at Holland and 21st Street. I'm looking at a bunch of garbage trucks.
Perfect. Okay. I could damn near see you if there wasn't a pile of milling. Parking lot, so, and you just kind of got to go around the block. You're going to see, you'll know me when you see me. There is a big semi-trailer here that's waiting to get picked up with a reefer unit up front. There's a dumpster truck. There's a red car in front. In fact, are you moving yet?
Yes, yeah, I am moving. I see some solar panels. Am I getting closer then?
Yes.
Okay, there's a truck out in the street here by a red brick building that's like 4 stories.
Yep, okay, turn right.
Okay, is that you waving? All right, oh, I see you.
Yep.
All right.
All right, come on in.
We made it.
How's it going?
How we doing?
I'm Chris.
Spencer, nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, I'm moving forklifts around, so let me just scooch that one out of the way. I'll back the big one up, and I'll probably just literally have you pull
Straight?
right where that forklift is.
Okay.
And then I'll come out with the system, and you guys can look it over and everything, and I'll load it up.
All right, sounds good.
The fuck is that place, and what are you doing there? What the fuck?
Picking up a Switch and Go. Looks like a pretty decent unit.
If you want to film for a second, whatever you need, I'm going to go switch my hat.
All right. I'm just checking stuff out.
That's all free.
And then we have the Swapp hog here, which is what we're picking up, the Swapp hog. Looks a little different, huh? Oh, no, this is different compared to what I have now. Oh, it's already got holes and stuff drilled in it.
Alright, so now that some of the ice is melted, a little bit easier to tell some of the differences.
Yeah, actually, they're not as far apart as I thought they would be. This still is more advanced than the Gen 1, it seems like.
Yes. So, biggest difference is the rollers. They're like a stainless steel with a rubber pressed over them kind of deal. I haven't taken one apart to totally get the differences. They're all the Imron is super sticky. Biggest difference you're going to see is those rollers. Second biggest difference is the subframe. So with these,
Looks a little
you've
smaller.
got a smaller subframe, but it does Z around, so it does have some support up here. So with this, it's built more like the Gen 1 than the Gen 2s are. So this is a Gen 2. What they tried to do was make everything as modular as possible, which I really liked. Problem is when they assemble them, they have a hard time getting everything square, I think, because the biggest complaint we get is the aching and the groaning when it goes up and down. Some of them you can put them up, like we've had to replace cylinders, and the hoist will, or the rails will just stay up with no cylinder in it.
Oh, jeez.
So they're tight, and there's no grease points other than on the scissor. Otherwise,
on the Gen 2, there's no grease points.
Correct. Now, that is pretty much the same as far as these go. Here's the difference. If you ever have an issue with these, you pull the set bolt, pull the pin, clean it up, put it back together. That is the same on the rollers and the rear guide roller.
No grease fitting on that then?
Nope, but you pull this clamp, pull it off, and you're good. These, you have to have an Allen wrench that nobody has, break them apart,
Yeah, right.
press them out, and typically by the time you get them out, they're pretty chewed up. And they're pretty hung up from the factory. So I still like these systems. I've installed tons of them. My issue with them is they've got some time to go, and when they got bought out by TBEI, who owns Rugby, Cry-Steel, Class, all these different companies, it's either going to get better or it's going to get worse. And right now, Swapp Hog is built by Downeaster, who preps and paints everything. They do a lot of stainless, and they specialize in salters and sanders, so they get the idea behind corrosion in this industry.
Yeah, I mean the finish on it looks really nice.
It does.
This is nice, all covered up.
Trust me, it's not perfect. None of them are.
I'll get it undercoated anyway.
But what I'll tell you is, this seems to be the superior body. Now on the Gen 1s, the one thing that we always had was cracking at the scissor pad. So what would happen is at the subframe, they would crack here and here. So they would call me the shim Nazi, but I'm crazy about making sure that these are shimmed underneath. I don't use wood. Wood just holds the moisture and rots them out. But just regular steel plates, you know, here, here, and then a few, especially right here and right here. That gives it support, so it's not moving as much. The system is going to move with the truck frame. So the rails in the hinges are going to have a little give. So that's that squeaking you get. And you can, if you're going around a turn and you're in a dip, you can see the rail kind of come up on any dump truck, anything with a scissor on it. It's the same way. But what that does is it eliminates a lot of the flex. So with this not being totally tied down to that subframe, you'll see the pads here.
Yep.
It allows that to move without flexing what doesn't need to flex. That's one of the big things I really liked.
This goes up with the hoist then.
Correct. So when it sets down, it's not setting, it's supported the whole way. So a lot of times what you'll see is the subframe and the rails are going to sit like this on a lot of trucks. And what happens is the trucks just get a little bit of movement to them. When you set these and you fasten them, when they come down the first time, sometimes you have to suck them down, or one side will be higher than the other. That's a big beauty of the shimming that you do to make sure it's level all the way across. But a lot of the guys, they're just going to clamp it down to the frame, bolt it, and be done. What those shims on that rail do is give that support the whole way through, instead of this hanging in 2-inch, you know, freedom all the time until you put a load on it and it flexes that rail. That was more the Gen 1 problem. With the Gen 2, the only place it is supported is right here when it comes down. You know, see these pads that they had to add right here? What happened is when they would bring it down, the scissor mount would grind into the subframe and kind of not get stuck, but just jam itself in there. So they had to put these pads in. So you'll see on any of my Gen 2 trucks, if they have a toolbox, if you look at the toolbox when the hoist is up, the toolbox is crooked. When you look at it when the hoist is down and the body's on, the toolbox is straight. Because these sit on that pad, so they sit at an angle at all times. So they got some room to improve on the Gen 2. But if you need a gooseneck, if that's your primary business,
that's what I hear. You can do both, right?
Yeah, this is where you would put your gooseneck. This is a 50-20 hoist on an 11-foot system, and what they do is they scooch that hoist all the way up so that you can get the gooseneck closer to the rear of the axle. It's not a for sure thing, you know, you're still behind the axle a little bit, but this is about as close as you're ever going to get. That way, it's frame mounted. It's also tied into the subframe. It allows everything to be tight. It's not going to shuck around and move. But you have the other issues to contend with that they aren't necessarily huge issues, but it's just a lot of little things that, you know, when it comes down to it, that system solves it all for me.
Nice.
So I don't have to constantly modify, improve on every one. And not to mention, I don't get paid for any of that. So not that the money's the big deal, but it gets a little exhausting when that one's already done.
Yeah.
It takes maybe a touch longer to install because I got to shim the subframe like the old ones, but I'm cool with that. I've been really pleased. The only issue I'm going to tell you about is this here. The one I just did, I had to grind this. I have a can of paint for you, and I have a new cup.
Was it too high?
It was just catching. It was just squeaking because it was just catching. They looked it up. They're like, "That's not possible." I'm like, "No, it's possible." They looked it up and they're like, "Oh, Anthony or something like that." We have since fired him. I'm like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "Nope, we're gonna send you everything. We're gonna send you paint. We're gonna send you cups. Grind it, fix it, whatever you got to do. Here's everything."
A little bit lower then.
Yeah, and like I said, the last one I did, I just had to grind, you know, 1/4 inch off. So honestly, I was.
If that's the biggest problem that they have, that's not really a big deal.
Right, and would you like to see one on a truck?
Sure.
Okay, it's a little bit.
Yeah, so I want to look at the shimming you're talking about.
I'll show you these dumpsters too, just to compare. This is the nicest dumpster I've ever seen in my life. Only hang up is it's probably a little bit too nice for a dumpster because
so smooth.
The price isn't exactly in, you know, it doesn't make you jump up and down about buying dumpsters. They're fairly expensive, but like this, I bought this so I could set it on trucks that I send up to dealerships. So like I got one going to 5 Star International. I'm gonna build the truck, set this, or have a different dump body. I haven't decided, but this is gonna be one of my demo bodies because I mean, look at it. I was very impressed, and I think the Imron's gonna hold up a lot better. I really do. The bumpers are nice. The biggest advantage of the bumpers, they go on tight. So my thing with the Gen 2 switch and go bumpers, they are pre-drilled. They've come so far. They're finally something that you can use and be happy with it. The only downside is they're having issues with their brake. So the bumpers are either coming out too tight so they won't go on the truck, or too loose. So they're like, yeah, you got to torque your hardware to, I don't remember what it is, 90 foot-pounds. Well, at 90 foot-pounds, I still got 1/2 inch to suck in.
Oh, is that far off?
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some quality control checks on that. 1/2 inch, that's a pretty big...
Swap hog. I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm still working with John. I still install switch and goes when they ask. I'm just a wee bit.
Yeah, I mean the finish on this is so smooth.
Now, They use Imron paint. Imron's great. I don't know if you ever used Imron. It's nasty stuff. The downside to Imron paint is if you don't lay it perfect, you know, you can lay it on thin. If you lay it on thick, it starts to really beat out and get a sinister orange feel to it. So they're laying it, I would say, about medium thickness. And for truck bodies, this is literally the best paint you're going to find. I've been happy. These are the fold down dump bodies. The biggest reason I wanted to go to Swapp Hog right off the bat is like I was trying to keep my allegiance, but I said let's at least get a dump body, because look at the tailgate setup. I don't know if you guys have any Mason dumps.
We did. We got rid of it.
They're horrible.
We get because well, like we like that flatbed there, we put wooden sides on them.
Yeah.
And because we want to be able to access it from all sides, so we bought a truck with a body on it like this with flip down sides, and it was good at first, but then like these hinges got really hard and nobody could lift it up, and then there was always debris getting in these corners, and then it would freeze, and then you couldn't close the door all the way, and the latches never lined up and stuff like that. So we're like, you know, this is, and the body you can't see out the thing. It's
right.
like driving a freaking box truck.
Now, with these, with fold down sides on any brand, you're going to have a degree of that. But the biggest advantage that I see on these, the hinges are heavier, the locks, I don't have one sitting here to compare it one-to-one. But to me, the whole thing just seems better built, better fit and finish. You know, it's done. And this tailgate setup is literally what sells them every time. Because if I didn't sell any other Swapp Hog stuff, I'd be selling their dumps. It's a real dump body. It's a real tailgate that they use on actual dump beds instead of just a tube frame. It's a drive-on tailgate.
I got two of them now. So this is the lock. Then you can just it just clips on there.
And then you can actually pull that again, and it'll lock up. And it'll come all the way down. And you just set your chains wherever you want them. But this is a drive-on tailgate, so it's rated to be.
Yeah,
driven.
even this looks heavier duty than the one we had.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's all that different. That, to me, I believe that's a buyer's
it
latch.
looks a little thicker, heavier
these,
duty.
You can relock, lock again, and it'll stay up. And then this, right here, if you put a tarp on, that's where your anti-sail bar goes. And they got a handle.
That is pretty nice. Definitely beefier than the switch and go we had. The other one had it was like a piece of plate with a little notch on it that would come down and grab it. That's an actual.
It's an actual latch.
Yes, not just
I
a
have
piece
them in
of
there. I mean, it's a
piece of
buyer's
steel. Probably
So-
not floating around here, is there?
Flatbeds. There's one body that I'd say Switch and Go still does better than Swapp Hog, and that'd be the flatbed. So the flatbed is very nice. Here's the problem. Now I'm probably sending this one out to get Linexed. The next batch I have coming, I paid extra, and they're going to be deck plate.
See, we actually like the flat deck because
Yeah.
we shovel out of it.
Okay, that makes a difference.
So when you sent me the picture of this, I'm like, oh, steel deck. That's the first time I've seen a steel deck that had a beaver tail and stake pockets across the back.
Yeah. Now
that
they do deck plate here for pulling off. That's all tread plate, but it's all smooth. And their theory on that was if you're going to use it as a dumping flatbed, they want it to be smooth. And then their calculations said that smooth plate, and I don't believe this, smooth plate in wet conditions has more traction with similar surface area. I totally disagree, but that's fine. Whatever they say. The fit and finish, they build a good body.
I like this this cut in here.
Yep. Just so you can see. I've been really pleased with their products.
Tailgate there?
What's that?
Is that a
That's
tail-
an extra tailgate. So he bought an extra tailgate if he's hauling stuff that he doesn't want to smash into his coal chute. You're going to see a lot
I
of
suppose it's easy enough to swap out, right?
What's that?
I suppose it's easy enough just to swap them out.
It is.
Latch on
And
latch.
it's not necessarily hitting the inspection door that's a problem. It's when you put a coal chute in, the bottom gets a little bit weak if you put them in the right way. So now this one, you'll see like the tube goes all the way across, the inspection door sits over the tube, it's kind of nice. But a lot of times when you get coal chutes, if concrete comes back and bashes it, this support tube on most of them is already cut to fit the coal chute, so it immediately wants to go out. So he bought another tailgate. I was happily surprised to see that they were able to go above that and stay flush with the floor. So I'm ordering a few of these tailgates to just have, because a lot of guys don't want to pay the extra money. I get it. If you're not using a coal chute, you don't want to pay the extra money. But I'm going to have a couple extra tailgates sitting here so we can swap them. These are the cheapy dumpsters I've been telling everybody about. Fit and finish is horrible. Paint's horrible. But they are heavy.
Yeah, you can see the welds on it.
So they're 10 gauge floor, pretty much 10 gauge everywhere. It's 10 and 12 gauge construction. I can't remember exactly how they make it up. They make them black and that's about it. But guys who are running dumpsters, like I sold these to a guy. He's like, we are literally going to put them through hell because we're going to put stumps in them.
These are new?
These are brand new.
What the freak's up with the door, man?
And shipping.
Jeez Louise.
When they stack them. When they stack them, the doors are on top of each other.
Oh yeah, these are definitely cheapies.
Yes. So, but I try and explain to everybody the difference because they don't see. If this is all they see, they don't realize what a good one looks like.
Truck.
Yeah. So this had just a regular 12-foot dump on it. But we use stainless mud flat brackets and filler neck brackets. That's just for the body. Pretty simple stuff. You won't believe how simple this thing is to mount. And for a second, I was going to change up the mounting brackets. But if you look at the scissor bracket, the scissor pad and the rear mount are taking all the abuse, and then the smaller plates are just keeping everything in check.
Yeah, that's nice right there, huh? Less welding. It's all bolt on.
There's pretty much no weld.
See, ours I had to weld on here something.
Yeah, Gen 1s you all had to weld. Most of the guys are going to use a buyer's fender. I use the Fleet Engineers fenders. They're just a better product.
I got about a 50-50 shot with these ones. I tried to get replacement parts and it's like the shipping was insane. I like them because they actually wrap around the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They have a nice, like the buyers are like, ugh.
Yes.
This actually has a better look to it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the price to get the stuff shipped to me, it was like totally unreasonable. They install, I think, easier than the buyers ones.
All fenders are a pain in the ass, no matter what.
These ones, the buyers, I want to say were a little bit more difficult. These were nice because you could set this in place and kind of fix stuff around and adjust without making a big deal of it. That one you had to, you drill a hole and that's what you got.
Right.
This had some play in it. So does it come with all these shims?
No.
Okay.
So you just use whatever you need for your truck. So with this truck being a little bit older, it's had some frame spread, and that will actually affect how the frame goes. So, the bumper, I just put the anti-skid on the light boxes so when you're empty you can climb up a little easier. But the bumper is going to go on tighter than a son of a bitch. But once you get it on, it should pretty much bolt right on. And then one downside, the center hole is here for the trailer plug.
Gotta drill them
We'll have
out
to drill these holes and
every
these
time.
holes. But that is pretty much it. The receiver is in there already, welded in, and then you got the holes for the pinhole. So everything you need should pretty much be there. The harness is all in there. The only thing you have to do is hook up the harness to your truck adapter, because you said you were going to junction box it, or it was already junction boxed.
Something like that.
So everything's bare leads right there.
I'll make something work. I haven't looked at it too much to figure out exactly what.
Pretty basic. And it really lends itself well to using just basic toolbox brackets, because the Gen 2 actually sticks over, so you have to trim your toolbox brackets. And the key to me is if you can lock up. I don't want the whole thing
Bouncing.
This is a Versa bumper.
Yes. It's the first one they came out with. We put the second set of lights in it when it was brand new because it didn't have anything.
So, yeah, they shimmed it. Did you put this on?
Yes. We weren't sure if we shimmed it right. There was an instruction manual that kind of told us how to. And I think we did it right, but I'm not really...
Well, it's not cracked, so... That's the first thing you can find.
I guess we shimmed it in the right place, right? Right where you said to? Right around that scissor hoist.
Yep, that's the biggest thing.
That one came with some shims.
Yeah, it's literally the best place to shim it. So that's why it's not cracked.
So we did it right.
You did it right.
That's good.
It's one of the first ones I've ever seen that was shimmed
Correctly?
at all.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, like, the gap's huge.
No one cares. There's new trucks over there at the dealership I do business with. Brand new trucks from Unicel. The shims are there, but they're not touching the frame. Looks good. And yes, you do use undercoat.
Yes. I live by this stuff. I mean, look how clean the bed is.
Yeah.
I mean, I built this in 2020, I think. And underneath it, I can't complain about that without doing anything other than spraying it with undercoat. We'll spend a day kind of touching up the rusty spots on the top. And yep. So I built this body. Then I'm trying to get my hands on some of these and those nose rollers too.
You want to call Bucks Fabricating. They'll ship them right to you.
Yeah.
They're cheaper than you and I could even make them.
Yeah.
So at Bucks, pretty much is all encompassing. So Bucks started Switch and Go.
Yeah,
You know, but they'll have all that stuff, and they also own rolloffparts.com.
That's why I was looking on their website, but they didn't have anything I needed. It didn't. So they might add these rollers, but they didn't have the nose rollers that I needed.
So we'll go over real quick what I gave you.
Is there a installation manual or anything there with it?
There is. So we got fenders. Here is that cup, just in case you need it. Fender parts. You got the 2 sets of poles back there. This is that connector I was telling you about.
Okay.
It gives you the bare butts and the heat shrink. Hardware kit for the bumper. Again, the cup. This is the installation kit. So there is, that's for your winch,
Manual.
and this is for the
Install.
install
Okay.
and the operation manual. This is the biggest thing. This is between Switch and Go, Swapp Hog. They both use the same 600 amp fuse. It's more or less for the winch that draws all the amperage. This is very important. You want it as close to the battery as you can. Basic controller, up, down, and out.
This is the new one, huh?
Yep. There's your scissor brackets. You need to hit 2 out of the 3. And then 2 out of the 4 on, or 2 out of the 3 on this one as well.
Bolts
So-
gotta hit 2 out of 3?
Yes. So you're either gonna, if it's off to the side, like that Ford out there had to cut the middle one off to get around the spring hanger. So you just got to make sure you hit 2 out of 3, top and bottom. This is basic hardware kit for the little tabs.
Okay.
These are those. They're way lighter than you would expect, but these, I believe you can put these on the back to hold your hook. I haven't even played with them.
Oh, cut out piece there?
Yeah. This would be if you want to be able to freewheel your winch. I do not recommend it. Because guys will leave it half freewheeled and grind the gears up. There's your lubricant for your cable. It is already pre-lubed and pre-wound.
Taking a few minutes.
The biggest things. Here.
Yeah, so this is the same exact thing I've been doing pretty much on all
I use. Except
plug
for
on
the
the
Fords.
back.
The Fords I have plug and play.
Well, yeah. Plug on the back. And, yeah, so when they break the end off it, which always happens.
Yep. Hopefully.
This looks so much like a switch and go.
There it is. I knew I threw one in there.
What's that? Oh, there.
Your outlets. Your light boxes are right here. Again, these are your fender pulls. Now, biggest thing is, these are going to have you run a power and a ground all the way to the battery. Make sure you do it. If you use a frame ground, voids the warranty. That's the biggest problem the Switch and Go has, is burning up winches. The cables are all under here,
Power ground to the frame, or to the battery.
all the way to the battery. There's your ground wire, there's your hot, and this is a little pigtail already made up for your fuse.
That's long enough to go all the way up there, and as it is, or
Yep, as it is. You run,
Okay, well,
run them
it's
together
already-
all the way up.
it's long enough already then.
Winch is wrapped. Cable,
Cable.
swivel hook, pre-lubricated. That's your lock. So where you would have a pin for switch and go, you have the spring lock.
Is it always? Because we don't really use the pins. Okay,
Yep.
so you can just keep her
lock it
out.
like that. This is going to be a little. It's got plastic washers in it. You can take some of that graphite lubricant for the cable and just spray this up with all the new paint and everything. They're a little sticky. This one doesn't feel like it's going to be, but some of them have been a little sticky.
Any advice on mounting the fenders and locations, or?
Biggest thing on that. No, this is a dog. I haven't done a ram yet with these. The ram, if I remember correctly, doesn't have the overload spring pad as high as the Ford. So you
Yeah,
should be able to
that's
go right to the
always
subframe with no issue.
Okay.
But what I do is I go right to the subframe and I put a big washer on the back.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Well, mine do that. They freaking pull the thing in.
And worst case, like on that other Ford, I didn't want to have to shorten this. So mine actually sits on the fender bracket, but it doesn't get in the way. But it's a basic up-down. They take that Champion hoist and they put their rails on top of it.
That's it. Do you recommend putting the bumper on first or second?
So, typically I recommend first. On yours, if you're going to do a bolt-on installation for the rear pivot point, and it'll be in there, put the hoist on first. If you're going to do a weld-on, you can kind of, you can play with it a little bit as to what you want to do. I would just put
Bolt-on bumper or bolt-on hoist?
bolt on the hoist. So there's holes in the back pivot point here, and they give you a drill template. So if you wanted to drill down and bolt it.
Oh, from top down?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So you can make this 100% bolt on. A lot of guys will weld the rear pivot.
I'm trying to think if I welded that one.
That one I would almost guarantee is welded.
I put the hoist on first, and then I bolted the bumper on. I don't know if I welded them together. I don't remember, but I know I put the hoist on first, and then I put the bumper on, and then I couldn't get my hands in there to put
Yes.
hardware on.
So
I was able to get it on, but it was kind of a pain.
biggest thing you want to do I want to say a Ram does the same thing. You can just take the whole harness that goes along the rear crossmember, take that all out, and set it on top of the tank.
And then, yeah, because my backup alarm is buried. I'm like, well, I hope I never need to get to that thing.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to be able to get to it.
I'm going to go grab you that can of paint that you sent me.
Forward more. You got like a foot or more. Well, you know what? Just go forward. I'll back the truck up. That's about it right there. You're sticking out on that side still, so.
Yeah. I mean, Am I still under?
Yeah, pick it right up now. Yeah, I think you're good there.
Now I'm assuming.
Good?
Yep. Well, that storm kind of kicked your guys' butt, but profitable.
Well, we didn't really do much of that. Well, we just couldn't get by because they had the thruway shut down all the way from the PA line to actually all the way up to us at the Canadian border. So we couldn't even get on the road to move. All right, so we made it back to Buffalo a short while later after stopping by Erie Fleet Solutions and talking to Chris there for quite a while. So here's the system again, maybe a little bit better lighting. Looks just like the Switch and Go. I got my pallets of material. You saw all that stuff if you watched the whole video. And then I got these boxes up top, or toolboxes to go on the truck. So in the next couple of weeks, probably we'll be upfitting the truck. Maybe starting next week. You'll see videos on that. This video is probably coming out. This is probably like 4 weeks after I picked this thing up. So I'm going to do a full video on the install. I'm going to do a video on building the flatbed. And then we're going to do a video comparing this Swapp hog to the Switch and Go that I already have. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I just wanted to thank Chris for all his time spent and answering all my questions that I had, getting this thing loaded up, and all the help he's been. That's Erie Fleet Solutions in Erie, Pennsylvania that I went to and got this. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.